Heidi Ho, and season's greetings. Welcome back to Destination, your place for all things Destino. I'm your host, Po T. Today we journey back to Season 8. That's right, it is the season, Angkor. Joining me today, we have 3 players from that season. First off, in 6th place, Joan. How are you doing, Joan?
Hey, I'm good. I
Good.
wasn't expected to be called first, but then I realized I'm the one that we played snow with.
Fair enough, yeah. Next up, we have, in 3rd place, Conch. How are you, Conch?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. This was pretty much the first season where I feel like I really got to play. It was my second org, and the one before that I went out pre-merge, so real special place in my heart. Very happy to be here.
Awesome, glad to hear it. And last up, player-wise, our winner, Ryan. How are you, Ryan?
Doing good. Excited to be a part of this, and I guess similar to Conch, this season holds a special place in my heart too, because it was the first org I ever won. And sorry, I feel a little out of breath. I'm just walking around at the moment.
No problem.
I'll find a place to rest in a
In
minute.
addition, we have 2 of our hosts from this season. So, as always, your bureaucrat we all love and fear him, Tommy. How's it going, Tommy?
Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Tommy. And we have fellow host Javante. How are you, Javante?
Howdy. Oh, wow. You're going to step on my intro just because you missed yours. Wow. Jesus Christ. Hi. Hi, this was a fun season to host. I think it's like, my second season hosting on Destino. It was definitely an interesting cast, to say the least. But I think
one of the better casts, in my opinion, to be honest.
Say that again?
2 people. I would say this is one of the better casts aside from 2 people, but...
Oh, fully, yeah.
Joan and Ryan are right there, Tommy. They're right there.
Ryan is who?
Joan and Ryan are right there. You don't have to talk about them like that.
Oh my
I
god.
wasn't alluding to Ryan, but Joan, 100%.
Damn.
I don't care, I still won. I still won Chapada.
You did
I
not
still
win
won.
Angkor, though.
I'm solid.
All right.
You taught me that.
All right, so let's jump into Season 8 Angkor. So, Angkor, of course, you're sorted into 3 tribes, Kroko, Tane, and Lole. I'm probably mispronouncing all 3 of those, but let's go with it. So, Joan,
I wouldn't know.
yeah. Joan's on that yellow tribe, Tane, and Ryan and Conch are on the original Lole tribe. So, what were those original tribes like? How did you feel about those initial groups starting this game off?
I can start off with this one. So I think Lole was a stacked tribe. Like everybody on that tribe was bringing something. Even Alexis, who was the driest person on the tribe, I think, and probably the most likely to have been the first boot if we had gone to tribal pre-swap. Still, certainly not inactive, good at challenges. I think, everybody was bringing something.
Yeah, she had that insane score in what was it? The higher lower one.
Yeah,
she had 600 in that or something.
It was a strong challenge tribe in general. I mean, got the resident challenge beast on the tribe. I think. I think as far as the initial pre-swap dynamics, I think from at least my perspective, people who were probably the best positioned early game on Lole were Vikram and I. We were each in 2 trios. We had the VCR trio with Ryan, which ended up being the final 3, and then we also had a trio that Emma made an hour into the game called Final 3. So I think, at least from my perspective, Vikram and I were kind of in the center of everything early game. And Vikram had actually hit me up like right at the beginning of the game because he had spec'd the one other org I played and kind of was like basically positioned himself as like my early ally. And I think, if anything, he was probably in the best position of anyone. The social game started strong.
So,
Brian,
Joan,
anything?
so Joan, what was your original tribe like, Joan?
Well, my original tribe was really easy for me because I literally ended up in an alliance with every single person without asking a single person for an alliance. But at the same time, it was chaotic. Tommy will remember this, and Javante will remember this, where literally 15 minutes into the game, Max jumped on me and was like, "Hey, you're Spanish. I like took Spanish in high school. Let's have an alliance." And like it was my first Discord org after taking like a year plus break. I had no freaking clue how to make alliances, so I just made a group chat and I added every single host to the group chat.
Yeah.
And it was just awkward and funny, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And yeah, overall, it was a really good tribe. I would say that the people that were on top were Catnip and I, maybe Owen. At that point, Owen was like decently respected, and yeah, it was it was calm. And the moment we went to tribal, we just put it Max because he kept disappearing, and that's that.
Yeah.
Really?
I guess things were common Lola as well, since we never went to tribal and never really had to like make that decision.
hmm
And so, Javante, as the host,
Yeah.
do you have any thoughts about these initial tries? Especially, we don't have anybody representing Krolko. If you can shed any light on that
Yeah.
as well.
I'm trying to remember. I remember Crow being hella messy.
It really was.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to go back and look, but like you had our first boot, Caroline, obviously, poor thing. She, oh, I think they tried to do the Max thing and just like make a bunch of like allies and alliances out of everybody, and it was just like was very transparent what was happening. Of course, you have some icons like Zeph, Carmen, Kiara was there. Bob was Bob the crazy person? Hold on, I'm like actually trying to.
Yeah.
Tommy,
Yeah,
do you
Bob,
remember?
Bob's a person we will never cast again. Let me tell you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bob went utterly insane. Tommy, do you remember what Bob did? I'm trying to remember. Oh my god.
After his vote off, he pretty much like told Shane remove my shit from the wiki. And I don't know if he did reach out to people or not. I don't think he did, but he was just disrespectful.
Yeah,
Bob's a
good.
dick.
Yeah,
That's
Bob.
one of the stories.
Bob was a dick. Caroline was like the first victim of the temple, which, by the way, the temple was such a fun twist to have. There was definitely, again, I think this cast being like half crazy people and half good players definitely contributed to the success of the twist. We had people like Wit that just didn't give a single crap and just did things did certain things to purposely mess with people. I think we all remember the Survivor boot order incident.
Please shed some light on the Survivor boot order incident. I'm curious.
Oh my. Okay, so
let me look. Actually,
We need Divine here to weigh in on that one.
I think it was that. Wait, I think
Yeah.
Wit started it. The mid not long after challenge wasn't announced.
Literally, I'm looking back. I'm pretty sure it was like less than like 5 minutes. Like basically, we announced the challenge. Did everything. A few people on the tribe were getting together to be like, okay, so how are we gonna do this? Blah 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 blah. And then out of literally nowhere, Wit just bam posts the first word, the first name that didn't even read the challenge or anything. And when I tell you, the tribe went banana pants on them. Like, wait, what are you doing? Why did you? What's happening? Hold on.
Well, and what I remember hearing from Divine too is that Witch just did not apologize for doing that at all, and just doubled down and was like
That was the
I
best
did this. Sorry if anyone has a problem with it. Not, yeah.
That was the best part.
Yeah.
They did not care. They were like, well, I did it, so are y'all going to do the challenge?
What?
No, the challenge started. Let's do it. We're doing the challenge now. I'm like, Wit.
And wasn't Wit immune that round?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, because they went to the temple the previous round and just took immunity because they just didn't care, and
They
they had
didn't
to
care.
they had to vote Alexis because they couldn't vote out Wit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Literally,
Alexis was robbed in that moment. She should have never won.
Wit and I actually
Yeah.
got pretty close on original Lole. There's another there's an alternate timeline of Angkor where the swap tribe lines end up a little bit different, and Wit makes merge and as the world's silliest shield for me. I would have loved that timeline.
I'm trying to remember one potential twist. I know it would have affected the swap whether it happened at. I don't remember if it was 16 or 14 if it was not chosen, but it was. I don't remember actually. I just don't.
So, with the temple brought up, I would like to have a little bit of discussion on what exactly the temple was and sort of what it did throughout the season.
It pretty much is if you go, you will have to either accept the temptation or not. If you accept the temptation, you get immunity at the next tribal council. It's not immunity at the next tribal you go to, it's the next tribal council, regardless if you go or not. So it doesn't you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Furthermore, we didn't reveal what the temple held. So, for example, the first temple where the two people with the most votes would have gotten into a duel. That was not revealed until after the challenge and whether the temptation was accepted or not. We clarified if the temptation was accepted. And I think we had 6 of them, and 4 of the 6 I think were actually chosen.
5 out of the 6 actually.
5? Okay.
Well, 1, 2. I'm literally on our old doc to look at it.
The
Hold
wiki
on, 1,
also
2,
says
3,
5 of them right now, so maybe all 5 got put in.
So no, 5 out of 7. There was 5. There was 7 in total. 5 got picked. 2 were not chosen.
Okay. I just remember one of them would cause a joint tribal, and Jane actually did not accept that temptation.
Yeah, Final 14. Y'all would have had a joint tribal council if whoever won that one picked it.
Oh, that was me. And
that means
I believe I went on that round and I didn't pick it because I was confident I didn't need immunity, and I figured that it would be potentially a double tribal scenario, and I wasn't that confident that my tribe would be placing first. So I just didn't want to cause that bad blood, and I ended up being right, I think.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at just to see what the temptations were, because I sort of forgot.
My general opinion on the temple was that I think, whereas a lot of Destino's done a bunch of these types of twists where one way or another players have decided what will and won't happen during the season. Wistman's Wood did that. Season 11, however you pronounce that one, did something like that.
Call it not, yeah.
Yeah, and I think like what was interesting about the way that Angkor did it was that whereas like I think like season 11 especially like there was just never an incentive for any of the players to pick like the really crazy twists, especially once Angkor hit merge, since if you said yes to the temple, you got just individual immunity. There was pretty much no reason to ever not accept it because the twist that happened that round wasn't going to mess you up anyway because you'd be immune. So
Yeah.
everyone was incentivized to say yes to the temple every round come merge, and so as a result, a lot of those crazy twists happened.
Yeah, like I got sent to the temple twice in the merge. I just took it because like I was like, why not? It's not going to affect me.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'm sure we'll get there when we get there, though.
It was a little overpowered. I think we also like had a really tough time like just figuring out what we wanted to be the temple items. Like we shuffled crap around so often before the season started and like barely got it to really fit where we wanted to. And then we also had to think about jury slash merge composition because we didn't want it to we didn't want anything to like to like make it to where a tie could happen, all that crap. So like it took us a while to like really iron everything out, but I think at the end, I guess because of that, we didn't really think about like, oh yeah, it's just everyone's just gonna take it at the merge. Why wouldn't they? So
You're right.
it just kind of came out like that.
Well, it led to the very chaotic Final 11 tribal, so I think it was worth it.
Oh yes. Oh, that was a hot mess.
I know, and I was just
craziest tribal event.
I was just sitting there like, okay, well, I'm immune. I can just watch this craziness unfold and see what happens.
Honestly.
Ryan, did you even know what was going down?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea about the Emma plan. Like, I know you mentioned it to me the night before, but I didn't know it was actually gonna like happen. Like, I was blindsided by it, but like because I was immune, I was just I was able to be like, okay, well, I know it's not gonna be me, so I can not be too worried about this.
There were so many layers to that vote. Like, everyone had their own unique plan, and nobody but Joan was happy with the end result, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is a general theme for Angkor, I think.
Yeah. And then, of course, Kira ended up being the one to win immunity, too, and that kind of just ruined everything when we didn't even see that coming.
Yeah, although I mean,
winning that really
have the majority of votes anyway.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so now that we're sort of into the merge, let's just jump back around and sort of what happened at the beginning of that merge. What was sort of the early stages of that merge look like, and then how did it sort of shift over the course of the merge?
So I think this merge was really interesting in that because of just the way the swap tribes happened, there was just like a lot of built-in alliances basically because you had Tane and Lole were both of the original tribes had done pretty well pre-swap, and then the Tane 2, I think, that never went to tribal had like just some of the most powerful players from each of those tribes swapped together. So just a lot of alliances got
it was mainly the original Lowlies and the swap Tanais coming together. Like that was the main majority alliance from what I remember.
Yeah, Tale, I think we called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like basically it was Josh, Micah, Carmen, and Kira getting excluded, I think.
Yeah, because they just didn't have the bonds. Because protocol was such a mess, the entire pre-merge.
Yeah, basically anyone who was ever on Krolko at any point became the minority.
Yeah.
And then Carlin.
Yeah.
Kind of just really did not like Carlin.
That's because Carlin was so confrontational. you're so comfort, or they sorry, was so confrontational about the idol during the pre-merge.
That's it, yeah. The reason was because I knew Colin had been like really pushy with me to get my idol guesses, and basically I knew that he had the idol and that he had quote unquote taken that away when I didn't mind sharing my like idol guesses with people that I had a build up relationship, but with him he just like forced me into that spot, like, and I just didn't want all merge long to have to do anything with him, and that's why in many different scenarios I just tried to screw him over.
Yeah, they were asking me about idol information after the swap as well, and like it would happen so quickly after we met too that it just kind of made me feel like a little uneasy.
And during this swap, the one relationship I really enjoyed having was with you. I like remember we like immediately started
I
talking.
know, we
And,
bonded over a damn cheese grater. Like,
exactly. Like I like showed you a picture of my favorite cheese later, which is a
yeah,
really great one.
From my
And yeah, I
perspective,
was like,
the swap phase, just touching on what John was saying just there, the swap phase seems, I feel like, is where Ryan's social game really, really took off. I don't know if you'd agree with that, Ryan, but
yeah,
I think, like,
I would.
you were in
I
a
would say
fine spot on Lole, but, like, I don't know, like,
I'll be the first. I'll be the first to admit that the weakest part of my game
you would
was
have
during the
won
pre-swap on Lulai,
you
because I just
you would
wasn't
have
meshing
won
with
if your
Wit,
part of
and
speech was just like
I wasn't meshing with ML a
saying,
lot either. And
yo,
I
but
wish
yeah,
that
it's just
the
you know,
confessionals became available because I think one of my first confessionals I was just talking about my first impressions of you, Ryan, and I think like
yeah,
the first like 2 or 3 DMs in a row, you had like mentioned the fact that you were watching wrestling, and I think I made it like very clear that I just didn't know anything about wrestling, and you kept talking about it, and my confessional was like,
hey,
"Wow, this
howdy
Ryan
ho,
guy just
and
really wants to talk to me about
greetings. Welcome
wrestling,"
back.
and that was my
Your
first impression. And then you dominantly won the season, and yeah,
yeah,
if it works, it works.
yeah. It took me a bit of time to come into my own that season. I think it was really during the swap that I did when I met Joan, and I think like just becoming closer with Vikram during the swap as well.
Yeah.
yeah, Vikram was also really good. Like,
Yeah, because like when we swapped, it looked like me and
Immediately.
Vikram were going to be on the bottom of that tribe, but I think I worked like I felt the pressure to kind of turn that around and not be on the bottom, be swap screwed, because you know it's not a great situation to be in.
Yeah, like I wanted to swap, being like, okay, I guess I have an alliance with Colin and an alliance with Owen. I should be good. But then I
Right,
like met you and Vikram, and I immediately like you both so much. Like, actually, I think I just found two better allies than those two gods. I don't want to do anything with
right,
them.
right.
And yeah, and like Ryan, like the first impression was that he was really strong socially. So like every single time I hear that he was quote unquote weaker in the pre-swap, it like surprises me because he like right off the gate he was in my
Well,
radar really strong player.
I find a lot of times when it works with me, it just depends on the person who I'm talking with. And, you know, it's just sometimes I just don't always mesh with certain personality types, and it's just the way it is.
Well, I'm flattered.
Yeah. I do remember one time when Wit tried to propose an alliance, I think, with me and Conch when they were really drunk, and then they forgot about it the next day, which I found.
Oh yeah. Wit made a lot of drunk alliance proposals and then never followed up on them.
Oh yeah, I remember the screenshot of was it oh no, I was wrong. I was thinking of the screenshot of Evan in Chapada saying that he's a sociopath because he got drunk and made an alliance. That, but no, that's not weird. Let me find that.
But yeah, so we had when we'd been talking about the merge, I think the first merge vote was pretty clear cut, even though 8-4 looks kind of split. I don't think anyone was too invested about whether Josh or Carlin went. Like some of the people who voted Carlin were fine with Josh going, and vice versa. So.
I mean, I like talking to Josh, but after a while it became clear, like, he started talking to me about how he had, like, all these allies behind him that would help him, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, you're a threat then. I don't know why you told me that.
What I remember about Josh is that he had a policy where, at least with me, he would not DM first ever, and so the conversations were just very one-sided, and then I kind of gave up. And Carlin was actually making a real effort with me, maybe because just like the connection of both of us being non-binary, they had made a alliance right out of the gate with Carmen and I, and I felt relatively good about Carlin in comparison to Josh, so I was definitely happy with things going the way that they did.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I knew Carlin's number was going to be up soon, so.
Yeah, because Catnip was, like, so intent on getting Carlin out.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I think, where Final 11 started to fall apart. Like, a lot of that, I think, was Catnip.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, the stage that I'll set for Final 11, I feel like you got to know a little bit of background about Catnip and I going into that season. So the one org I had played before up until that point, Catnip and I were like, it was an anarchy season, and like in the anarchy phase, Catnip and I were ride or dies, end up on different tribes, and I get voted out pre-merge. And so then when we found out that we were both on the cast of Angkor, we got pretty excited. I'm not a fan of pre-gaming normally, but this was like one of those things where we just really hadn't gotten to play together before. So we're pretty excited about that, and the idea was that we were going to be, just this power duo, and we were going to control the whole season together. And then Final 11 happens, and I think it just becomes clear that like some of Catnip's ideas were maybe not entirely strategically sound. A lot of just emotional gameplay, really wanting Carlin out, which, like, hey, playing with your heart, I respect that. But I think around that point, I think we had a plan initially. I think Emma made the initial plan to split the votes between Carmen and Kiera, but then Catnip wanted to go rogue and have like 3 of us throw votes on Carlin and have Carlin go out instead of either Carmen and. So the vote ends up getting split 4 ways, basically. And Catnip initially reaches out to me about throwing some votes on Carlin, and initially I'm kind of interested in that because I don't want Carmen going. I feel pretty good about Carmen at this point, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll throw a vote on Carlin. Why not? The idea is that Carmen and Kiera are supposed to vote Carlin as well. But then kind of at the last minute, I'm like, wait a minute, if I vote Carlin, everyone that I have this Tale alliance with is going to lump me in with Catnip and Joan, and everyone is already starting to feel kind of sketchy about Catnip and Joan. So me like looking like I'm in a trio with the 2 of them is not a good move. If they want to get Carlin out, and they have Kiera and Carmen voting with them, that's 4 already, so I just reverted back to voting Kiera, which was what I was originally going to do. Didn't tell anyone about that, so looked very trustworthy to Ryan and Vikram, and Catnip was not happy with me, even though the way I voted didn't change the outcome.
It was not. more upset at you switching your vote back to Kiera than at me basically blindsiding everyone by orchestrating the Emma vote. Like
Which
that
is
was like what
hilarious
really
because
struck me. Yeah.
literally
Yeah,
all my vote did was just make it so Ryan and Owen and Vikram didn't distrust both Catnip and I. Like that
right.
helped
Hmm.
our duo in theory. Like if we both voted Carlin, we would have been lumped together and both been eyed suspiciously. So I legitimately thought it was a good move, but oh well. Catnip at that point
It
didn't
was.
want to work with me anymore.
Um,
That was
yeah.
the end of the
Yeah,
power duo.
yeah. My perspective is not as well because I was kind of blindsided by it. So, like, I was just thinking, like, okay, well, I have my original low light group here, and I have the Tonight 2.0 people here. So why not just keep this together as long as I can? Like, I kind of figured Emma wasn't going to last long because she was coming off as being the person in charge, whether or not that was true.
Hmm.
But like,
I mean,
I was willing to wait one more vote before making that move, though.
Mm.
Which is
yeah.
why,
And
like,
like,
when Joan brought it up to me, I kind of just turned it down, and yeah,
yeah. Like for me, it was just something that made itself visible in my like perspective of like actually with the four people in the minority, if I manage to split up the vote of the majority enough by egging Catnip on to vote for Carlin, and like even if Conch does not go with it because I like could see that Conch was hesitant. I like just realized that I could get the four people to put the vote for Emma. And like the reason why it was Emma, I was like debating between doing it Emma or Conch was because it was really obvious that the original Lolay tribe was really solid. And that strengthened me a lot because I felt like I had a really close bond with Vikram and Ryan, and I felt like they might feel that Emma was an easier person to take further down the line. And just the way that it stood, and with how much Emma was ghosting me in my DMs, I felt like I was
yeah,
like a solid 7 or 6,
yeah,
and like
yeah. Because I was just willing to like let her stay in the game a bit longer because she seemed like a
mhm.
shield for me.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, for me, like it felt like a person that would easily get things to go against me because like I think that if we had
Right.
waited, if I had waited a little bit longer, maybe you, Ryan, because we had like a good relationship, would have been like, okay,
Yeah.
I can cut Emma loose, but maybe Conch, who was clearly closer to Emma than me, at that particular point would have been like, no, actually, Emma is a good final tribal person for me. Uh,
Hmm.
let's do John instead, since he is potentially more trouble. And yeah, the way I managed to pull it off was I only spoke to one of the four people in that group, and it was Kiera. I was like, Kiera, this is really important. And like, because Kiera worked a night shift at that time, we managed to have the perfect time zone alignment to go on a 1 hour long voice call where I like explained everything. I explained about the alliance. I explained how Emma was the ringleader, and I explained how I am splitting the vote on my end, and I need her to go to Carmen, Colin, and Micah to get the four votes on Emma, but not throw my name out saying that I told her that because originally I intended to just keep quiet like a freaking sociopath and pretend I was confused and like trust that Kira wouldn't tell after seeing that some votes were on her. But then the moment it went down, I like felt so guilty that I ended up confessing to Ryan and Vikram, and like
Yeah.
it got me in so much shit. Like
Oh,
Vikram
I remember that.
hated
I remember that whole shit show. Like we were all just so like angry about it.
Interestingly, I feel like the person, even though I was probably Emma's closest ally, I think the person I remember being the angriest at you, Joan, for that move was Owen. Owen was real. We had that. So after that move, Ryan, Vikram, Owen, and I make this alliance. I think Ryan
Yeah.
initiated it. Called
I
the
did. I did. Yeah.
And,
Because I saw the opportunity to bring us together. Because
it was a smart move. Yeah, a good alliance to make. But I remember us having at one point to talk Owen out of just going to like Scorched Earth with Joan at Final 10. Like Owen was ready to just drag Joan down that vote, and we were kind of like, well, maybe we should make sure we have the numbers first.
Yeah, that would have been a very emotional decision to do that early.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I was confident in doing the move was because I overall sensed that I had the connections with Catnip and Ryan particularly to have them be reluctant to vote me out at Final 10. And like I knew people wouldn't risk outright targeting me at Final 10 because it would have been as easy as me as just flipping to the minority and causing rocks or getting them to play an idol or whatever.
It was definitely smart because we needed you, Joan, at the next, couple votes to have the numbers.
Joan played the final 11 very well. Like, you made an incredibly over-the-top villainous move, but thought it through so cleverly that, like, you really were insulated no matter how crazily you played.
I mean, the fact you basically got away with it, like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, we had no choice but to stick with them.
Yeah, like that's what I said in my confessional thread. I was like basically being like, I'm literally holding my. This is like me pulling a hostage situation because both sides, every one of the 9 remaining players has no other option but to trust me and not vote me out next because I am a swing vote. I've put myself in a position where the minority needs me, the majority needs me, and I'm gonna keep. And I wanted to keep switching between group and group. And it didn't happen that much, mostly because of the way after Micah went next round, I had really little interest in working with Micah just because
Micah
was not an interesting person to speak with.
Yeah, like, I don't know the best way to sugarcoat that, but he was definitely the driest person on the Merge tribe.
Definitely. Besides maybe Josh. But I actually had a pretty good connection with Micah, but he just really doomed himself by being the only person in that minority alliance that everyone knew didn't have an idol. There was so much idol paranoia. Like, I mean, in so many ways. We were terrified of idols that season, and we pretty much knew confidently that Micah didn't have the idol. So
you just became like the easy vote, the safe vote, which didn't make things any easier at Final 9 though, because like that paranoia was still there.
I'm honestly kind of amazed, Joan, at your self-control for not turning the final 9 into a 4-3-2 when we were splitting that thing 3-3-3. Like, the fact that no one 4-3-2.
Oh, I know.
That crazy.
Well, I mean,
well, it's because they were putting their votes on Catnip. I think that's why it worked.
Yeah, I think if they had done another name, there was a better chance, because even though at that point Catnip already wanted me gone, I wasn't quite ready to cut Catnip yet. I wanted her around still.
Same.
The situation though was that the final 9 was basically Catnip being like, I want calling on and I'm not taking anything else for an answer.
For Carlin, why?
No,
I don't know.
It was literally like I literally made like one of the parchments as a joke of Catnip.
The lady said, "Go home."
Exactly, the lady said, "Go home."
such a
was
good
it.
part.
Like it was like in that round, like Catnip like kind of put a stick on my plan of like getting the vote to flip from one side to the other until it was me and potentially Catnip controlling everything to the end game, because she had like she just made Colin know that they were not appreciated by her. Like so, the
Yeah.
minority had no reason to want to work with Catnip or to work.
Yeah, and
to
we
try
just
and
kind of
work
went
with me
along.
again.
We just kind of went along with their plan about catnip, like pretending that we would go with it and flip. So I remember having like conversations with Divine about that.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
we also
Divine
wanted
tried
to
to
flush
make it
an idol.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we thought they might have had two idols because we didn't know where the Kuroko idol had been. It wasn't until after the season we found out it was never found.
The way y'all thought that the green idol was hiding somewhere.
Well, the other two idols were found. Like, it had to be somewhere.
That's true.
The other two were both
Yeah.
free
Like, I didn't think they'd be that uncoordinated to not have at least one person find it.
I should mention that Divine was so close to getting that idol, then we merged.
The other two idols got found pre-swap, so the idea that nobody was gonna find the Kuroko idol after both the merge and the swap, when there were two people that were on the entire time that had like 6 rounds to find it, was completely inconceivable to me.
I finally finished the idol map on the pre-swap, but it was already found, and that was like literally just before the swap happened. I didn't know who had it at that point, but
it was me.
Yeah, I figured it was you. I figured it was you or Emma. At some point, I figured it was you or Emma.
Yeah,
I think it was actually elimination. Got it. Kanchan, I forgot who got it on Tane.
Carlin.
Wasn't it Catnip?
No, Carlin had it.
Yeah.
Right, because so Carlin did have an idol and just had Nerves of Steel. Did not play it at the final 12. Didn't play it at the final 11. Not at the final 10, and then we really thought that Carlin must just not have the idol if they weren't going to play it at final 9, but they were just fearless, and then because it ended up being a 3-3-3, they just passed it off to like Kiera, who didn't get any votes, and the idol survived.
Yep. Wild. Like that was the crazy part of me. The fact that the Tane idol got passed around so much, and these people were just like, okay, well, I'm going home, so let me just give it to my ally real quick. Like, I've never seen that actually happen ever in Survivor. So the fact that they just said, well, screw my safety, I'm gonna just pass it down and hope they do something with it. Like, it was wild.
I really wish a member of that Minority Alliance was here today, because that was like just the most chaotic Minority Alliance.
I'd love to hear their perspective on all this. The three of us were all on the same side for the most part.
They really had y'all sweating for a while.
I know.
Yeah.
Like every time I thought we'd get the upper hand, like something crazy would happen.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I think that really simplifies this season to a T. It's like you think things are gonna be simple, and then something wacky and out of fucking nowhere happens.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Well, speaking of idols, we should talk about the final 8 and how the fact that when this tribe was split 4-4, all 3 idols were on the same side.
Yeah, wait, so I'm really curious about that, Javante, because I don't know if you ever answered that. If our group, which I believe was me, Ryan, Joan, and Carmen, three of us had idols. Joan was immune from the temple, right?
Yeah.
Who was immune?
Joan's immune
from
the temple.
I had the merge idol.
Carmen is the Tane idol. I have the Lole idol. If the 4 of us had lost 2048, 3 idols get played and Joan is immune, what the hell happens?
I think with a
Again, without
revote
idols,
with
probably.
immune.
Yeah, did the idols just nullify each other?
I want to say tentatively. I forgot that we were literally spitting bricks about if y'all lost.
Well, luckily, y'all had me on that group because we were never losing 2048
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah, Ryan was
Nice.
absurd at 2048. I think that we always knew you were good at challenges, but that was the moment where it was like, oh, holy
Well,
shit,
yeah,
this
that
could
was
be a
one.
problem.
That was the one challenge I didn't want to lose for that exact reason. I didn't want my idol to just be like gone for nothing
Yeah,
in this
Yeah.
weird split vote, split tribal. I mean,
I want to say I can't remember off the back top of my head. I'll have to look it up. But I want to say that we agreed that like you said, it would just cancel each other out.
yeah,
And we would just go into a revote where everyone's vulnerable again, because that is
right.
just
Would it have included me as vulnerable since I had immunity as opposed to an idol?
I think you would have still been safe. I think you would still been
Yeah,
safe.
like
Yours is like winning individually.
because I remember
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So it would.
like
Yeah. So that.
Yeah, and I feel like it would have been such a.
that
I feel like
round.
it would have been. Yeah, and I felt like I was in trouble there too because it would have been such a good opportunity to get me out at that
Mhm.
point.
I feel like I would have
yeah,
tried.
I would have gone for him now.
I would have probably gone for either Conch or Carmen. I still felt good with
Oh,
Ryan at home.
yeah,
What I wanted was just to get rid of all 3 idols. So I was like doing the challenge. I was trying to give Catnip advice. I was seeing Catnip fail miserably, whilst Ryan kept sending me updates on his score, and he was like getting it higher and higher and higher. And I was like, okay,
yeah.
what do I do? Can I get a negative score? How do I throw this? Because if I manage to get the whole tribe disqualified somehow, I will do it. I will be that absolute asshole and be like,
I'm just like you will.
all
I'm
3
just
of
like
you
you
have
will not.
idols.
I'm just like you will not throw this, Joan. You will not.
Mm-hmm. I also had like the feeling that Catnip would go at the
Oh
other
yeah,
Yeah,
with the other
same.
group. Like it was a little bit too good to try and get out
yeah.
together over
And me
Catnip.
and Vikram were already talking about doing that if they lost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And
and it's funny
then
because
Vikram. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't think Vikram got enough credit for that move. Actually, I think a lot of the jury credit to me, but I was just kind of
No.
trying to take credit for it to make myself look better. But I really do think that move was Vikram's doing.
Yeah,
The
you
thing
did
with
a good job
Vikram is
taking
that
credit for that. Kenneth thoroughly believed you were the mastermind behind
Yeah.
the vote off, but like, yeah, you
Yeah.
really weren't.
No.
taking people's moves from him, huh?
Yeah. I mean, if it helps me win, I'll do it. Like.
The thing with Vikram was that he was really open about it. Like he was clearly building a resume, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, like I had this amazing alliance with Kiera, and like that's why part of the reason why next round I got rid of Kiera because I didn't want Vikram having an amazing ally."
Oh Lord.
Well, Vikram was a very strategic player. I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think people. Yeah, Vikram definitely got slept on. I feel like a little bit,
Yeah.
but also he's playing a bit of an one of those
Yeah,
under the radar games.
In this social game wasn't the strongest, and I kind of recognized that early on, because like people were talking about how he was getting in their DMs about them not voting the way that they said they were going to vote, and I kind of figured that was going to rub the jury the wrong way.
Yeah.
I think for me, like I had a really good relationship with Vikram. I think like the reason I at the end just didn't feel like I could vote Vikram was just like the amount that he just didn't really ever seem to have any interest in making a move against Ryan. Like it didn't seem like
Yeah.
his head. Like that I think was the thing for me where Like, and you like made it pretty clear that like if it was like you,
Well, yeah, because
at the end you might have cut Vikram, and Vikram didn't like reciprocate that. It seemed like more like you were playing him than the other way around.
Yeah, and I kind of used my idol as a way to keep us like, because I kept telling him I would use it on either of us if I needed to, but
Yeah.
I was always going to use it on myself.
You playing the idol on Vikram also like made it seem like he was under your wing more so than an equal partnership. But Vikram was definitely good. Like something I keep in mind, the Southeast Asian time zone for orcs is probably the worst. Like like
he's
the
an
absolute
exact
worst
opposite time zone.
social.
Yeah.
Also, the two of y'all, Ryan and Vic, I just realized Ryan and Vic, they like didn't go to tribal at all in the pre-merge. So
Nope.
that rarely happens where like the people that don't go to tribal pre-merge like actually make it to the end. So that
yeah.
That was pretty epic.
Yeah. So we now discuss the round where I got Javonte to crack the fuck up and actually call me out of my thread because I went too far.
Wait. What round was this? Wait a minute.
When I mindfuck continue voting out Kiera, let me get the reaction.
Please, I'm trying to remember because you have me wilding basically all season.
Let me get it.
Oh my god.
Well, I'm unable to get it, but I have the collage of all the reactions I got out of the hosting team. And I'm just going to highlight the one that it was when I managed to get the tie vote. One moment. Like, he sent that, let me, what is it?
Oh my god. I'm trying to look up too. I'm like, wait a minute, what did I say? Oh.
He sent that to my host, to my player thread. Like, he like was not holding mic that I had.
Oh my god, that's right. Wait, oh my god. I sound like a crazy person. Oh. Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, look, Joan is definitely one of the most charismatic villains I have ever had the pleasure of hosting. Because it was just like every day I would go into his conf thread and he'd just be talking about some wild ass shit that he wanted to pull off for literally no reason. Then why not? And it would happen, and I'm just sitting there flabbergasted, like, wait a minute, how did you make that happen? What are you talking about? What do you mean you got everybody to split 3-3-3? What? And it's just like it was so effortless. I think a part of me was jealous because I'm just like, I wish I could even fathom doing half of the crap Joan did in this season that I've done in my entire org career. Like, Jesus
Some of the
Christ.
stuff that Joan thought of, like, it was moves that work because, like, nobody, like, would even think that they would be possible because we just weren't planning for the shit because nobody would have ever thought of that besides Joan, I guess. In the case of the final 7, though, like, that was, like, kind of not a good move on your part. Like,
it was bad.
Incredibly entertaining. But, like,
that was a whole mess.
My logic going in, and like I've discussed this with Brian a bunch, was that out of the final 7, I felt that I could like maneuver a position where
in the case of the
I was the swing vote again. Like I hated the feeling of not being the swing vote, and I felt like Kiera had become the swing vote again, and Kiera on top had been the one person that had stopped talking to me outright, and that had begun saying I wouldn't mind doing Joanne openly. And like Owen and Vikram, like I was bothered by, but I thought I could maneuver a position where they were better off targeting Conch and Carmen, because at that point Conch had kind of been outcasted by the Ryan and Vikram group, so Conch had joined the Carmen and
Yeah.
Kiera squad. And
Yeah, it was
yeah, like
around
my
that point
objective was. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say it was around that point I started becoming a bit more distrusting of Conch and whether they were gonna try to get me out soon.
Well, and that was specifically because I went to Joan trying to after the final 8, when Catnip got voted out. I mean, Ryan and Vikram were just openly saying that that was a move made specifically to weaken Joan, and I was already
Yeah.
interested in doing a Ryan blindside. So I went to Joan and was like, "Hey, like your Ryan is voted out your closest ally, and you said it was because he wanted to weaken you. Like, let's make a move against him." Figured like, and Joan acknowledged that too. Joan was like, "Yeah, like I knew that was the reason."
Yeah.
So I was like,
And it,
the reason that I trusted Joan so much at the final 7 is I just thought that there was absolutely no reason for him to simp to Ryan at that point, because Ryan had openly made a move against him, and Joan, I think, so I just could not understand that.
Yeah, and then he just told the whole plan to me, and I was like, okay.
Like I did it because I did want Ryan and Conch going after each other, because my idea was that final 7 somehow get Kiera out, and then at final 6, again somehow get either Kai or like get Adu sloshed and vote together with Carmen and Conch. But like I was like at that point I had gotten so deep into the numbers that I was not considering emotions, and on top of that, the Kiera vote ended up having a little bit at the last minute.
Oh yeah, like I think I sent my vote in at like truly like 30 seconds before the deadline. It was crazy.
Yeah, and my vote, I switched it like the second you, like it was a split second decision. The second you told me, oh, I'm switching to Kiera, like I'm feeling just in case that Kiera told Vikram anything. And that was the moment I was like, actually, this is what I actually wanted. The votes are there, and like it was a split second decision, and then I couldn't believe that somehow I found the way to get the person I had started targeting at the start of the round out.
Yeah, I think if Kiera hadn't gone then, she would have been in the final 4.
Oh, definitely. Kiera was in a really good spot. The thing. So going into that vote, I knew from just the way that the way that Ryan and Vikram and Owen were being in our alliance chat that somebody had leaked something. I knew that there was a leak, and again, I didn't think that there was any reason it would be Joan, because Ryan had just very openly made a move against him, and Joan was saying it wasn't him, and it felt like Joan was the person keeping me in the loop the most. So even though I knew Joan was a snake, I was like, it doesn't make any sense for him to be loyal to Ryan here. So I'm pretty sure it's not Carmen, because Carmen's the target of the votes. I knew previously that at the final 8, Vikram and Kiera had struck up some kind of deal to save her and get Catnip out. So I was like, okay, maybe it actually does make sense for Kiera to leak shit. Like, and I think it's credit to Vikram's social game that, I had this idol that had been burning a hole in my pocket, and I just, really didn't want to get like voted out with it, or to like play it on someone else and then get voted out. And something just felt weird, so I was probably never gonna play the idol and vote for Owen, just because I was really afraid of getting like, an Owen idol play and then one single vote takes me out. So I was always gonna throw my vote if I played the idol on Carmen. I very nearly didn't play the idol at all, and if that had happened, I have no idea whether Joan votes for Owen or Joan votes for Kiera or Carmen or who, but
depends. I think like Owen was still pretty low in my priority list because Owen had been so like Owen's relationship with me at that point was even worse than that the one I had to Vikram, and that spilled over to the next round. So I wasn't really fast. Like I thought, okay, if an idol gets played on Kiara, I'll just vote out Owen because Carmen. I knew Carmen was not good at challenges, and I knew Carmen had. Uh, I s- I was trying to show that Carmen had a better resume than me for Final Travel, and in all honesty, Carmen probably would beat me, and most people at Final Travel. So I felt that it was like just smarter to vote out Kiera, Owen, or Vikram to try and maximize the threat level near the end game. So I would
Right.
have people thinking, actually, I think I might stand a better chance against Joanne than Ryan or Conch or Carmen, which is, in the end is I end up pulling off in a better way in Chapada by getting out the Vincents of the season. But in this in this one I didn't because I like pissed off so many people that next round, even though
Yeah.
it would have made sense to vote out Ryan, like it was like literally last possible moment to vote out Ryan. Conch and Coleman were not having it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, no,
Yeah. I was
at
gonna
that
say
point,
I was definitely capitalizing on that like resentment towards Joan to get him
mhm,
out. Like I was probably never gonna take Joan to the end just because I didn't want to face someone who played such a strong strategic game. Even if it like made the jury maybe a little sour, it's just you never really know which way they're gonna go with that.
Oh yeah.
well, so the
exactly.
other thing is at that point, because we had lost Kiera, we just straight up didn't have the numbers to get Ryan out. Like, we weren't going to force, Carmen and I weren't going to force Rocks to save Joan, who had just snaked us the previous round. So, like, I mean, I guess we could have forced a tie to give Ryan some more votes and then flipped back, but, like, we weren't going to go to Rocks for Joan. That would have made no sense.
Hmm. I think what I
Yeah.
was suggesting of doing was, I think I was suggesting maybe like getting an like if I was saying like calming if you have the Croco idol played on yourself, and that way you would if Ryan panics and plays an idol, uh, if Ryan panics and plays an idol, I go home, and if he doesn't and he plays it for someone else, it'll be fire between Conch and Owen or Vikram or whoever, and Conch has a better chance at beating them. Like I don't know, I was like trying to be complicated about it, but like nothing was going through.
I mean, I think
And
at
like
that
this was
point, you had just kind
mhm,
of burned through any goodwill that you had on both ends.
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
I
like
also, like, I mean, I definitely spent a day being just really upset and not very strategic because, like, again,
mhm,
this was the first, like, merge that I had gotten to play. And so I was like, um, I don't know. I feel like up until that point, I had been playing very, very well, and so the fact that like Joan had kind of played me as hard as he did made me just like I was very emotional about that vote, and like
Mhm.
mhm,
I think at that point I kind of knew that I just had to lean into the fact that I had just very publicly fucked up and just use that to lower my threat level significantly, which I think more or less worked. Like
Oh.
I basically
Oh, it
came
definitely
crying.
did.
I basically came crying back to Ryan and Vikram and was like, "Jones spinned all these lies. He pitted us against each other. I only wanted you out because he told me he was that you were trying to take me
Yeah.
out, and did all that." And I think then we were able to build a lot of
Oh,
trust for that one
oh,
round before I voted with
oh, it absolutely worked.
Carmen
It
to take it
absolutely
out.
worked.
Yeah.
mhm.
It absolutely worked, and I think that's the large reason why we became the final three in the end.
Yeah, crazy that the VCR alliance was the final
I
three. We
know.
were together from day one,
Yeah.
or like day
I
two,
know.
maybe. Yeah,
Yeah, because I had a final three with Owen and Vikram, and because for some reason Owen saw me as like an under the radar player, and I just kind of rolled with it. And like once Joan was gone, I kind of knew like the numbers were there for me to get to the end, so it kind of made sense for Joan to go at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I was hoping that Ryan would be less like originally what I was trying to do was I originally at Final Six I didn't want Ryan to go because I felt like I had the best relationship out of the many fucked up relationships I had at that point with Ryan, and I was hoping that Ryan would think if I lose immunity, I need someone that won't dog me out, and Joan is that person.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what instead happened was that uh,
A lot
the
of
whole thing
stuff with
where
Owen
Owen,
happened. Yeah,
yeah,
want to
like
talk
the
about
whole
that?
thing with you, yeah, the whole thing
Ugh,
where you
oh
basically
my
told
god.
Owen that someone had called him a goat, and then
Yeah,
blamed me for it. So Owen
yes.
started to
Well,
mind
like,
fuck me.
I told him that someone called him a goat, and he asked me who, and I felt like I had to say a name because I was, being confronted about it. And I remember you
Mm-hmm.
did
And
say
like
that at
the
one
thing is,
point, so yeah, and you were the person
you
I
had
wanted
also
gone
called him a
anyways.
goat.
Yeah, I know,
The thing is,
but
everyone had pretty much pegged already Owen as a goat. Like Owen was just not respected at that point.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I think at that point
Like,
everybody beats Owen in the end. I think Kira beats Owen, Vikram beats Owen.
yeah.
exactly,
The
exactly.
only
Like,
reason Owen was a threat, like the only reason Owen was a threat was because he was so good in challenges.
Right.
Which,
I think it's
like,
and
good.
not all challenges.
It's
yeah.
really good
No,
for your game, honestly, that we took Owen out when we did.
Oh, I
Because
know it. I
if
totally
you
agree
go
with
into
that.
final three with Owen and Vikram, there's like a good chance that like Owen could have given you a run for your money on the final immunity
Right,
and then take Vikram
right.
and get the like most
Well,
under
well,
the radar final
well,
two.
well, that final three I talked about with Owen Vikram, I had that plan before it switched to a final two, and so
Right.
yeah,
but
I
yeah,
just kind of stuck with it because like I already had it in mind. But it did become very fortuitous that Owen went out when he did because that really did just clear the path for me to win those last two challenges.
Yeah.
yeah. And with Owen, the thing was that when Ryan told him I had called him a goat, he decided to mind fuck me. Like the thing was, he just like made it up. He like used no truth. Like he decided to like be like, "Oh, I'm targeting Ryan," and like at that point, I was feeling like Ryan was the person that had my back the most in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and I just went back to Ryan and I kept like trying to persuade Owen not to, and like in the end, Owen like just in this really nasty way ends up being like, "Hey, I've been wasting your time for 3 hours, mind fucking you for the shits and giggles from it. You're going home. Fuck off." And like, I just remember being so angry, and like, I just also felt like Ryan was in on it when he wasn't. So I like just went to his
Yeah,
chat and I blew up on
Y-
both of them.
yeah, that wasn't my intent at all. Like I know I tend to be very like villainous and stuff
Mm-hmm.
when I like play, but no, like it wasn't my intent to just mess with you like that because
Yeah,
like you and Owen were telling me contradictory things, and I was just trying to figure out like what was actually going on.
yeah. Like I think Owen at that point was also kind of mind fucking you too for just get his
Yeah,
way and yeah.
yeah.
And
Well, when we were trying to get the vote on you, Owen was like the one person who was hesitant about doing it, and I think like a lot of what I was talking
for
to him
the
about that
for
day
the
was
first
trying to
fucking
get him
time
on
on
board
the
for it.
whole season.
What's that?
For the first fucking time in the entire season, he was
Yeah,
hesitant about voting me out, and then he
yeah,
does
he
that.
was because I think he thought that you were going to be easy to beat at the end or something, but
I would have voted for Joan at the
Yeah.
end over I think
yeah,
anybody other than Carmen.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I give it
I
to
like-
Ryan and Ryan Joan final 2. I have no idea how we would have gotten a Ryan
No,
Joan final
well,
2.
yeah.
If that had happened,
Ryan Conch final 2 would be very interesting because I still don't know how that would have
No, the
gone.
Ryan Conch would have been
Oh.
amazing. Like, I still think Ryan takes it just because of how dirty I did Conch during the Kettleboot. Like,
Yeah,
I think that would have
I don't know
been
about
what
that,
knocks him out, but, like,
honestly.
yeah, because
I think
Conch had
so.
better
At the same
relationships
time-
with like Carmen and Kiara than I did, and
I have
Yeah.
a few votes that are pretty much locked, I think.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think I was going to get Kiera, but I think I have Carmen locked. I think I have Carlin locked. I think, even though I fucked up and forgot to include her in the flag, I think Emma still votes for me because we did have a really good relationship.
yeah, I agree with that.
I think Catnip would have been a wild card because she was very angry at both of us, but I think she probably votes me. And that, well,
Yeah.
maybe not. Catnip could go either way, and then I think Micah could go either way too, but I think Micah votes me because we had a good relationship on the swap tribe. So I think it's like a 5-4, but maybe one of those two wild cards flips and it's a 5-4.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
very
really
unpredictable.
close. Yeah.
Like,
It would have been
The
interesting, but yeah, like obviously I wasn't gonna like go into that when I felt more confident against Vikram. But
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it would have
Well,
been
I
very
think-
interesting.
I think if Ryan takes me to the end and cuts Vikram, and I have
Vikram
like a
just goes
very
with
different
Conch.
case that I make versus if the other scenario of a Ryan me final 2.
Yeah,
Carmen,
and me, and
Vikram Fire.
yeah, me taking Conch would have been a very questionable decision for that the jury would have looked at it that way too.
Mhm.
But if it was the scenario where Carmen beats Vikram and Fire, then I think taking
Yeah,
that is your only.
yeah, well, I have no
decision. And then
choice because I think Carmen sweeps
Carmen
no
beats
matter
everything.
what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I vote Carmen in that scenario. I think just about everybody
Yeah.
does. Yeah, not sure what not sure what Catnip would have done. Probably Carmen. I don't know.
I'm
Maybe
not sure
Vikram
because-
votes you. Vikram might vote you.
I think you would.
Yeah, but I think other than that, it's a pretty clean sweep for
Yeah.
Carmen. The fact that Carmen survived as long as they did was absolutely
I know. She really,
Yeah.
or they had really had 9 lives throughout the whole season.
really impressive. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like, what I was going to say, the one thing that I would, in a Conch Ryan final 2, was for Conch, I would hold against them the Kera tribal. I would
Yeah.
hold her against Ryan the Owen tribal, and I did hold that up to Ryan and say, like, hey, this is the one moment where your control slipped.
Yeah, I definitely misread the
And it
Owen
paid off.
tribal. Because like the idol hadn't been played at all to that point, so I thought it must be gone by now, or
Mhm.
just you know.
I was floored
And be honest,
Carmen showed it to me, or when I was thoroughly convinced that
Right.
it
Well, I
wasn't.
think
Catnip.
I think I was gonna. Well, I think I was gonna play my idol in Vikram no matter what in that tribal, anyways, because like his loyalty is what I needed at the end game to make sure I got there. So at the very least, I felt confident he would take me to fire if I lost the next one.
Initially, the
What?
plan was that Divine was going to vote Vikram, and I was going to vote Owen, and we were going to 1-1 it, and then just see what happened. But then we were a little worried one of you guys would throw one vote on me, and it became pretty clear
Yeah.
that you were, in fact, going to play it on Vikram, and that was real. Like, because I think Vikram would have just been really burned if you hadn't. So, just because of
Yeah.
how publicly you were saying it, so we ended
Right.
up throwing it on Owen. But yeah, we initially went into the round thinking we were gonna split.
Right.
and
Yeah, like I was left
think
out
part
a
of the
lot in that.
reason-
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No,
I was gonna say I was left
laughing
out of
at-
a lot of things.
You go.
Okay. I was gonna say I was left out of a lot of things in that season, but I still managed to always be like on the right side of things in the end. And
Oh
like,
yeah.
I guess my win proves you don't have to always be in the know of everything that's going on or always vote correctly.
Well, I mean,
It's
I
like-
don't think any single person was in the know of everything that happened that
Yeah,
season.
that's
Like, that was
fair.
just not a standard that anyone could live up to, besides maybe Joan
Yeah.
at one point. And even then, like some of Joan's moves were kind of questionable. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the thing that really just impressed me with your game that season was how it just seemed like everybody was throwing their games for you. Like,
Yeah.
specifically Joan at Final Seven, like, having this opportunity to make a move against you and, like, like rectify the catnip vote out and instead just running back
Yeah,
to
and
you. I was like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
I was really impressed by your social game.
and me and Catnip came pretty close too, to the point where she was going to flip on you at some point later in the game. But like she
Yeah.
kept teasing that move to me, but she would never actually say your name, so I didn't know what she was getting at. And that's kind of why I was okay voting out when I did, because like she just wasn't giving me that information.
I think Catnip overestimated your bond consistently.
Absolutely.
I remember that they were really, or that she was really upset when, yeah. So to go back a little bit to that stab, the stab comp, like the final three of that was me, you, and Catnip, and
Yes.
I got stabbed. It was my second stab, and then I could decide which of the two of you to give it to, and I kind of played out the scenarios, and I knew that Catnip was kind of pissed at me, so I was like, okay, either I try to win this because I was pretty confident at that point you would stab Catnip and give me the
because
win.
I wanted to show that like me and you were still tight and good and stuff. And I felt already like secure enough of Catnip that I could just risk taking her out in the challenge and a win, like end my game. But
I stabbed you, and then you stabbed Catnip, and Catnip was upset.
Oh yeah.
I kind of regret not stabbing Catnip actually, because I don't think I needed immunity that round anyway, and I think she actually might have stabbed me, and then I would have been like, oh shit, and like knew that fully that Catnip and I were done and could move on accordingly.
Right.
But I mean, it didn't end up mattering. But
yeah, like me and her had a close personal connection throughout the season, and I think that's why she trusted me quite a lot. But I always recognized her as a major threat to win the game, and when the final 8 rolled around, it was too good of an opportunity to not, to.
No, of course. I mean, it was a good move. Yeah. But yeah. So I think going into the going into the final 4, my my plan basically, I was kind of oscillating between like, okay, am I going to try to just piss everyone off and alienate everyone so much that I get sent to fire against Vikram, or am I not going to take that risk and let Carmen do it? I knew Carmen wasn't very good at comps, but
Yeah.
I ended up I ended up deciding to kind of continue to lie low a little bit and to let Carmen do it. And there was like literally no reason for me to not tell you I wasn't sending I was sending Carmen to fire, or especially because I think there might have been a chance that you would have voted me, and then like I probably would have had a better chance beating Vikram and fire. But like
yeah, I mean, I kind of get it, because then you're also opening the door to like a 2-1-1 split when you start.
Yeah, I didn't want a 2-1-1. I also just wanted to like I wanted like I don't know, I was hyping Carmen up that entire round. I was like, come on, Carmen, no time to prepare. I'm gonna make Carmen feel so fucking over the moon, and like Vikram will have no chance to prepare. And it didn't end up mattering because Carmen's just
no.
But
yeah, so I think it was like better that we did vote for Carmen that round then, thinking, well, they're the biggest threat to win right now, so it makes sense to just vote them out.
Right. And I mean, I think also like they were I think at that point still, even though I voted with Carmen at Final 5, like I think I had done a pretty good job of being like, okay, I only did this because Carmen told me about it, but like, you know, I like wasn't gonna vote for Carmen if I knew like Carmen and Idol, like, you know, that's a vote. And I think like we were still like we still had some degree of trust at that point. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it made sense. But yeah, what could have been? I still think me, you, Carmen, final three would have been wild.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely stacked final three.
For sure.
Oh wow, what could have been?
What?
I know.
All right, so I think overall a lot of the base has been covered, but I will keep it open at this point. If there's anything else, whatever it is that you'd like to say, if you'd like to have a whole nother discussion, that's fine. But is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
I think that's it on my end.
I think I'm good.
I mean, the only thing I was like trying to say during the Owen boot was that to defend Ryan not seeing it coming, I personally didn't see coming that the rule that you could transfer the idol during the revote.
Yeah, I didn't know about that either.
I had played like multiple orgs, and like in some of them, literally, I would have got after getting voted out, you can like transfer the idol to someone else, or was getting voted out. I had heard about people, sure, some org you could transfer the idol during a revote, but like other orgs you could not do that. Like once the original set of votes were read, that was the cutoff time.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that rule, which is why I assumed Carmen didn't have anything. But like in hindsight, it should have been obvious because they just, you know, completely ghosted me during that round for the most part.
And yeah, the other thing about Angkor I want to say, Conch needs to fucking return someday.
It'll happen eventually. The only reason I didn't return for season 10 was because I had just finished playing Antelope Canyon with both Ryan and Carmen, and at that point, I had also played with Catnip twice, and I was pretty sure all three of them were going to play All Stars, and that was
right.
Destino All Stars would have been my fourth org if I had played it then, and so playing my fourth ever org with three people that I would be playing with for the third time just felt way too insular for me. So I like played more like a completely different community instead. And I think that was a good move. But maybe I'll come back for like season 12 or something. Who knows?
Yeah,
it was like for me.
Yeah, you've heard it here first.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna like lie real low. I mean, I haven't been. I've been taking a little bit of a break because I've got like grad school and whatnot going on. But yeah, maybe I'll show up again when I'm real old and see if Destino still exists.
Yeah, the final season.
We'll be around for at least 60 seasons, so yeah, there's still plenty of time.
I'll be back for Winners at War if you ever make it up that far.
That's the plan, honestly. That's my
that's season 18, Winners at War.
No, it's not.
You're gonna be able to get all the original 18 winners, are you?
No, that's season 18. We only have 16.
Oh, sorry, 17.
No, 16.
Only 16 because because season 9 doesn't have a winner.
Yeah. Show doesn't have All Stars stripped away as well, so we're gonna have 15 winners.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about. Season 9 does have a winner, and that winner is Dakota.
I agree.
Poor Nathaniel.
I do hope Dakota gets to return someday. Like, kind of epic.
We'll see.
I still need to listen to the Netherlands podcast, so maybe after listening to that, I may have a change in opinion, but I do not know.
Tommy, we don't talk bad about you, I swear. We totally don't. There's no need to watch it. You don't need to watch it.
Now I gotta watch it because they're saying
that.
Yeah, this seems suspicious. I don't know.
You're all good.
Sounds like we're planning a mutiny here, Tommy. You better be careful.
Oh my god.
Yeah. All right. So, with that all said, I believe we're all good unless Javante wants to say something. I suppose I didn't ask Javante.
I don't know. I think everything got covered. This was a wild, a wild season, but I'm happy I hosted it. I'm happy that everyone here got a moment to shine. Really, so I
Yeah,
think
it still remains my favorite org I ever played, and it's not just because I won. I had a blast with the people I played with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you
It
had
was
to play
a
with
fun
Joe.
season.
You had to play with Joe.
Yeah, that's true.
The last thing I want to say is that Tommy should rethink having this only be a high tier season instead of a top tier
I
Instead of
season.
a
agree.
mid-tier season.
Yeah, move this up.
Drop it to mid-tier.
What do you say?
Drop it to mid-tier.
No.
After
No,
hearing
say
about
that.
this season tonight, I've decided it's now mid-tier.
Damn it.
We'll just put in a no Tommy tier.
The no Tommy
No,
tier.
it's below Netherlands in the bottom tier for sure.
Oh,
Ooh.
undoubtedly. Worst winner.
I think it has Joan tier, could be its own tier below the no Tommy tier.
Oh.
Seasons with me immediately dragged down to the house.
Honestly, Joan alone does knock it down like 5 points. So
Yeah, you'll notice the best seasons
Excuse me.
have no
If anything,
Joe.
if any,
Yeah,
It's true. It's a good point.
very suspicious.
come on.
And the very best season had no Tommy.
If
so
anything,
even
I bring
more.
it up. Come on.
All right. With all that said, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a blast. And we will see you all next time on Destination. Peace out.